feeling low.
Hello there, my lemon drops, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Brianna. I am a certified personal trainer, a big, huge biology nerd, and a registered dietitian to be. We are gathered here today for another deep dive into a pretty prominent social media figure. In today's video, I will be including interview clips from somebody who has worked one-on-one with this person. Sort of one-on-one. The person on the table today is former top Beachbody coach, life coach, podcaster, and self-proclaimed body positive badass, Ashlie Molstad. Before we proceed, if you love science-based health, wellness, and fitness education with some lulz and some dry sarcasm along the way, hit that subscribe button and join the lemonade stand. I would sure love to have you here. Without further ado, let's make lemonade. So before I dive into the nitty gritty, I just want to introduce our special guest today. Her name is Melissa, and she's actually a registered dietitian and is currently studying to become a certified intuitive eating counselor.
Yeah, my name is Melissa.
Hi, Melissa.
I'm a registered dietitian. I'm currently in the process of becoming a certified intuitive eating counselor.
How long have you been a dietitian?
Let's see, 2005 is when I finished my internship and took the exam.
Wow, it's been a minute.
Yeah. But I worked in the food services end for 15 years. I kind of like got involved with Beachbody, just doing the at-home workouts because I was home with my son had just turned a year and I was going back to work. I had taken a leave, maternity leave for a year, and I was going back to work and I wasn't able to fit into my pregnancy work clothing. And I, had seen friends, posting their results on Facebook, and I knew I wasn't be able to get to a gym because of having a young son and working full time again. So it seemed to be like a solution. And so I went for it, and, I was all in. I was in the challenge groups, and I was doing the 21-day fix at the time. And so what was this, 2014? Yeah. So I was doing that, and I was just very immersed in that whole culture, really, because it's like, everybody's sharing like their sweaty selfies, and everybody's talking about the programs and the containers, and it's like it becomes like this language, and it's almost like, it's kind of like cultish, in a way. Like I wasn't really talking to anybody outside of that, and then the whole pitch of, well, since you're doing this right now, why don't you just do the discount, and so I didn't really need anybody to twist my arm. I was just kind of like all in, and that's just how I do things. So I did that. And, I would share my own workouts and stuff like that, but I never recruited anybody, and I wasn't really looking to make this, a thing. But, I feel like with myself, having done, been a registered dietitian, and I just didn't have the confidence in myself. Like I still had that idea that I had to look a certain way in order to do that job. I was in the food services end, so I was kind of like behind the scenes, and, I wanted to help people. So like there was always that in my head, and I always just kind of thought that they were doing, I didn't know really too much about the whole MLM thing. I was just, and it was kind of like, don't listen to any of that, like I don't think there was at the time as much like on YouTube and out there that there is now, which is really good. But, so I really it didn't hear any of it. I did see in some of the moms groups that I was in, like, oh, don't give me any MLM advice as far as like, if they say, oh, I want to lose 10 pounds, that, and like, don't, but no MLMs. And I'd be like, oh, like I just, haters, right? So anyway, I don't know. So I just got into that. So anyway, so long story short, I guess to where I am now with how I got into this was 6.5 years of doing this. And like, it's like this cycle that's always repeating itself. Like you always see every time a new program comes out, these same coaches have before and after pictures. So it's like, if it worked, why are we going back? And you know what I mean? Like I felt like, they're always trying to sell you the next thing.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like starting to feel like, you know what? I don't want to buy it anymore. It's like I've already, like I really should one day sit down and think about the amount of money that I put into this, but it's a lot. I could have gotten a personal trainer and
Wow.
did a lot better than what because you're buying, the volume, and you have to every time, even if you have the on demand, the new program comes out, so you have to have early access. It's like there's a lot of FOMO and a lot of hype and stuff like that. So I was getting to a place where I was like, I realized that this is like not really working, and it seems to be like, but I thought this was the best program ever. Why are we coming out with another one? And why are we saying, my results from this weren't enough, like it's got to be more. So I started, I guess, seeing some things on my feed like that were talking about like anti-diet and intuitive eating stuff. And I was always just very like shut down to that because I was somebody who had lost a lot of weight. I was obese as a child. I lost 80 pounds on my own and all this stuff. So it was always like, to me, like I always thought that was the goal, was weight loss was the goal. So I just never thought anything other than that. So then when I would see these things, I was kind of very skeptical, but kind of paying attention to it at the same time, because I'm like, I know what I'm doing now isn't working. So I saw her promoting this intuitive eating, and it was sort of like this thing where
Her, like, as in Ashlie Molstad?
Yeah. So I thought, well, it's a way to have it both ways. Like, because I had like one foot in Beachbody still, but I knew like it wasn't really the answer. And I was starting to distance myself from some of the people that were in my network, just because politically I was disagreeing with things that I was seeing, on them posting and just things like that. So I was sort of like half in, knowing that there was something else. And then I'm like, oh, this is a way to have it both ways, because she's the top coach.
Yeah.
And so it's like, so you can do both. And that was like, I guess, how I went into that. And so, she did like a sneak peek of her program first, and it was like a 3-day thing, and that was free. And there was like a lot of people in that because it was free and anybody could be in it. And that FOMO kind of stuff again. It's like, well, right now I'm only offering it for this, but when it goes live, it's going to be $1,200, so you don't want to miss out on this.
Want to just have Melissa pop in right quick and just introduce herself so you guys know that she's like a real person and I'm not clickbaiting you. Melissa has paid for and has taken Ashlie Molstad's Body Positive Badass course, and today she will be telling us about her experience in the course, as well as just chatting about some of the content in the course and some things she witnessed while being in the course. So over the next several segments of this video, clips of mine and Melissa's chat will be interspersed throughout. If you are or have ever been in Beachbody, whether that be as a customer or a consultant, then you have probably heard of Ashlie Molstad. She was not only an elite top 10 Beachbody coach back in 2020, but she was actually #1 in the entire company. For those who are unaware, Beachbody LLC is a multi-level marketing company, so they do have tiers and rank structure. If you're in Beachbody or any multi-level marketing company really, then the higher your rank is, that typically means the bigger your downline, which ultimately means for you, the consultant, more money. And so back in 2020, Ashlie Molstad I said she was top 10 elite, but not just that, she was #1 in the entire company, which basically means that not only is she quite prominent in the company, but she probably makes quite a lot of money with probably very little effort because of the massive downline that has been recruited beneath her. So like the less than 1% that actually make it to the top of a multi-level marketing company, they gain a lot of attention on social media, but eventually may begin to move on and branch out to other money-making ventures. Why this is up for debate. I personally theorize that so many people who are at the top of their multi-level marketing company, or should I say at the top of the rank structure in their multi-level marketing company, I think they probably eventually start to branch out to other money-making ventures because their income eventually starts to diminish due to oversaturation of the market. Very similar to, though not technically an illegal pyramid scheme, Beachbody is a multi-level marketing company. And like most recruitment-based multi-level marketing companies, the growth of one's income is heavily dependent on the growth of their downline, aka recruiting people. However, there is a finite amount of people that can be recruited into the company before the people on the lower tiers begin to realize that they're not making any money or they're losing money and they start to drop out. When the bottom tiers start to drop out, that means that the tiers above them start to slowly lose their income. From there, it's a complete domino effect until eventually the person at the very, very top of the triangle is left with no income at all, and they have to call their dad.
Did she talk about Beachbody a lot in this course?
No. And like she said, I really want to be sure that, I don't want anybody thinking I'm pushing it on them. She's like, this is what I do, but I'm not pushing it on anybody.
I feel like it's very rare that she talks specifically about Beachbody anymore on her Instagram.
No.
She's kind of been shifting away from that over the last couple of years, I think. Mm-hmm. And I know for like a few years, not recently, but she was like an elite coach, I think.
She was top for 2 years.
Like top 10, right? They have their top 10
number
list.
one.
Oh, number one.
2 years, yeah.
Oh, she hasn't even made top 10 in the last couple years, I don't think.
No.
So just a couple years ago, Ashlie was ranked number 1 in all of Beachbody. In my opinion, people at the top of multi-level marketing companies will eventually find themselves in that position that I just described. And when they do, they need to find other ways to make money to continue funding their lifestyle. Multi-level marketing companies overall really don't give you many valuable job skills that are easily transferable to like a standard 9-to-5 job. Or any job, really. The only thing I can think of is maybe sales, maybe. Many people in multi-level marketing companies didn't finish college, or maybe they joined their MLM right out of high school and they never even went to college. So they have no academic education to speak of. And being in a multi-level marketing company really doesn't teach you a valuable trade like automotive technology, cosmetology, or culinary arts.
And the thing too with coaching is like, you're only getting the commission off of that one sale, and then it's all dependent on like the downline and the volume that's accrued there, like, so you run out of like ways to make money. So now I think that they're all there's so many of them now that are doing this life coaching thing, and it's just like a way to get around.
And it's because they like to, I'm talking about MLM distributors, they like to deny that oversaturation is a thing, but it really is a thing because there's only so many people that you can recruit into your downline. And then after you've recruited everybody you can, what are you going to do? Like, people are going to start dropping out at the bottom of the triangle. They're going to start dropping out when they realize they're not making money. And then the person at the very top of the pyramid is screwed. And I think that's what's happening. I think that happens in a lot of multi-level marketing companies. Like, they have to find other ways to make money. They can only recruit so many people.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's probably what has prompted Ashlie to kind of explore other avenues. I don't know. I sometimes question if she even really cares about stuff like life coaching and intuitive eating and stuff like that. I almost feel, like I said, I feel like she just kind of had to hop on what was trending and like do something to generate, like, to make more money. So after their downline starts to dwindle and drop out, where does that leave these consultants who actually made it to the very tippy top of their compensation plan? Enter them turning to things that you don't need any background education or training for, such as social media marketing expert, boss babe mentor, and life coach. So Ashlie Molstad has faced a lot of criticism for many things, including her continued association with the multi-level marketing company Beachbody, which offers extremely restricted nutrition programs like the 21-day fix and the 3-day refresh, both of which I have done, while simultaneously herself claiming to be anti-diet. Seems like a pretty big oxymoron to me. She has a huge following. A lot of people listen to her. And a lot of people pay her for her advice and words of wisdom on things like life coaching and intuitive eating. But does she have the credentials to back that stuff up? Does she even know what she's talking about? What authority does she have in these areas to be giving that sort of advice? Let's chat about it. So I think the biggest thing Ashlie is probably known for, aside from being in Beachbody, is probably her current ventures on life coaching and coaching people on intuitive eating. So let's start with the life coaching thing. So I said that this past year in 2021, she has become a certified life coach after taking coursework from the Life Coach School. The Life Coach School is one of several online life coaching certification courses that is offered out there in the vast, never-ending stratosphere that is the internet. So naturally, I visited their website to check things out. When I'm researching like certifications, curriculum, or any sort of educational program, the very first thing I want to know is that program accredited? And if it is, by whom are they accredited? So I went to their FAQ page and there is nothing on their page about accreditation. So I decided to send them an email and ask them directly. I kid you not, they responded to my email within like 5 minutes. So they're either extremely not busy or Chick-fil-A employees are running their customer service center. Either way, I appreciated the fast response. So I said to them, hello, I'm doing some research on the Life Coach School and I'm just curious about the accreditation status of the school. I do not see the information anywhere on the FAQ page or anywhere on the site. Is the Life Coach School program curriculum accredited? If yes, then by what accreditation agency? Thank you. And let's see, I sent that at 1:17 p.m. and they responded at 1:19. And they said, hi, Brianna, thanks for getting in touch. At this time, the life coaching industry is completely unregulated, and the Life Coach School has no plans of becoming accredited through ICF. However, we do continuously monitor talks of regulation, so we stay informed of what's possibly to come. If the industry were to become regulated, we would make decisions at that time on how to adjust and adapt to abide by rules set forth by the regulation while still remaining within our integrity as Life Coach School certified coaches. We would remain in close communication with our certified coaches about any decisions that are made regarding this matter. Let me know if I can do anything else to help. So the answer to my question is no, they are not accredited. But let's dive a little deeper into something they said. The life coaching industry is completely unregulated, and the Life Coach School has no plans of becoming accredited through ICF. This is very true. The industry of life coaching is wildly unregulated. And for someone to call themselves a life coach, you really don't need any sort of background, education, or training. It's like the damn Wild West out there. Because of this, what life coaching really means is pretty open to interpretation, I would say, since the industry is not regulated. Someone can teach whatever they want as a life coach, and there's no regulatory governing body overseeing them and what they're saying.
What is supposed to come with that? Like, what does a course entail?
So it was 12 weeks.
12 weeks, okay.
It could have been 3. I mean, because after a while it started to,
get repetitive.
Yeah, so they were like an hour-long Zoom call once a week. And she had like a little PowerPoint, and the PowerPoint itself maybe took like 20 minutes to go over. And then she would do like these open coaching, like, because a lot of it was really her life coaching stuff. Like now that I know more of what intuitive eating actually is, and that it was actual framework created by 2 actual registered dietitians, and there's science behind it and all this. There wasn't really much of what that is in her program, but what there was in her program is the life coaching school, like philosophy, I guess, and what they teach, and then train others to be life coach in. And it's this kind of like thought work and everything that, like she would say, like everything that happens to you is 100% a result of your thoughts.
Oh, that manifestation crap.
Yeah, so that really was at the end what it all became. And once I realized that, I'm like, oh no, this isn't, for me. And and it was like trying to tell people, because most of the people I think that signed up with her were probably in the same boat as me, that they were also Beachbody coaches, whether they were, working the business or if they were discount. But, it's a whole thing of, if you already have somebody, their upline, you can't directly work with her. Yeah. So this was a way of getting around that, like where it's like, oh, you can still be a Beachbody coach even if you have another upline and still do this program with me. Yeah. Or like, because right now it's only United States and the UK and Canada, I think France maybe now. But people all over the world could do this program with her. Like, so she had somebody from South Africa in there.
So a lot of it was the life coaching stuff, but I'm pretty sure that the way she advertised it, first of all, it's called Body Positive Badass. So when you hear that title, it kind of makes you assume that it's going to be some sort of way to kind of come to terms with your body and like respect your body and things like that. And then like she also talked up intuitive eating and stuff. You're saying there wasn't a whole lot of that in the course? No. What the hell does she talk about every week?
Well, like it was like the beginning was sort of like touched on it in a way. Like I think I sent you like the list of like what was the course outline, I guess.
Yeah, and you sent me a picture of her applying deodorant too.
Yeah. And this was funny because I rewatched the emotional eating one today, and she actually like was making a margarita in preparation of the call, and then put her link to her 30% off discount code for the mix that she was using to make
Oh,
this
come on. Are you kidding me?
So if you're looking for a life coach to hire for yourself, is there any way at all that you can kind of ensure that they like kind of maybe know what they're talking about a little bit? There is one way, I would say. And based on my research, that's looking for life coaching certification coursework that is accredited by the International Coaching Federation, or ICF. The ICF was founded in 1955, and they established themselves to give some credibility to the industry of coaching. In the 25 years since their genesis, they say they've grown to become the world's largest organization of professionally trained coaches. So since the Life Coach School is not ICF accredited or accredited by anyone at all, I really don't feel the need to dive that much into the ICF. But I will say that I searched both the United States Department of Education and the CHIA, the Council for Higher Education Accreditation. I checked their websites, I checked their databases, and I don't see the ICF on either one of those. As a reminder, the United States Department of Education and the CHIA are the only two governing bodies in the United States that recognize accreditation agencies. So if you went to NYU or East Carolina University, like me, I'm just naming some of the first like colleges that come to my mind. If you went to either one of those, then that institution is accredited by an agency that is recognized by the United States Department of Education or the CHIA. So my research did indicate to me that they're not recognized by the United States Department of Education or the CHIA, but honestly, I'm not surprised at that since the life coaching industry is unregulated. So since the life coaching industry is unregulated, that basically means that any idiot can call themselves a life coach. And honestly, that really aggravates me. I feel like life coaching is something where the advice a life coach can give you can directly impact someone's life and their well-being. And I think that's a really good reason why the industry should be more tightly regulated and more protected. It shouldn't be as easy as just taking a couple of online classes and calling yourself a life coach. Or again, since the industry is unregulated, you don't even need to do that to call yourself a life coach. I could call myself a life coach right now if I wanted to. This reminds me of the fitness industry and the nutrition industry. Because the fitness industry is so unregulated, you have Beachbody coaches who call themselves health and fitness coaches who are masquerading around as if they're on the same level as certified personal trainers, people who have studied exercise physiology and exercise science, or a strength and conditioning coach, people who have years of education and experience in the industry. The nutrition industry is definitely more regulated than the fitness industry, but in my opinion, it's still not regulated enough. Nutrition science and nutrition care is health care. Yet you have people getting overnight nutrition certification and then calling themselves nutrition experts, completely undermining the years of training and education that real nutrition professionals have to go through to earn their credentials. Anyway, I'm done talking about the life coaching thing. I think I've summed up my thoughts on that, so let's move on to the other thing that I feel Ashlie is most known for, and that would be her stance on intuitive eating and the fact that she has launched a program, Body Positive Badass, which supposedly dives into the teachings of intuitive eating and teaches you how to apply it to your life. Let's talk a little bit about intuitive eating because not everybody really knows what it is, and unfortunately I feel like social media kind of blurs what intuitive eating like really is. Intuitive eating is an actual thing. It's not just something that people on social media made up. It's a methodology that was developed in the 1990s by two registered dietitians named Evelyn Treble and Elise Reich. To date, there are over 100 studies citing the potential benefits of intuitive eating. So let's get the actual definition from the website, intuitiveeating.org. Intuitive eating is a self-care eating framework which integrates instinct, emotional, and rational thought and was created by two dietitians, Evelyn Treble and Elise Reich. I really hope I'm saying their names right. In the past, probably like a year ago, probably over a year ago at this point, I made a video on intuitive eating and I expressed my personal opinions on it and shared my personal stance on it from the perspective of somebody who's still in school to be a nutrition professional, to be a registered dietitian. That video is probably one of my more controversial ones because I don't think I outright condemned it, but I did offer some criticisms and like concerns I would have for intuitive eating, which I thought were valid. That video is still up and I have no intention of taking it down, as I still stand by everything I said in that video. But since making that video, I think I'm a lot more open-minded to intuitive eating. That doesn't mean I think it's right for everybody all the time, because there are some aspects of IE that I don't fully align with. The reason I feel like I can't fully align myself with intuitive eating are because it condemns the pursuit of intentional weight loss. Intuitive eating is aligned with health at every size because the pursuit of intentional weight loss is a failed paradigm which creates health problems, including weight stigma, weight cycling, and eating disorders. All bodies deserve dignity and respect. And that's the part where I kind of don't fully agree with intuitive eating. I say this all the time, but I have to reiterate this. I am in school to be a registered dietitian. I want to specialize in bariatric care. I want to work with overweight or obese individuals who are pre and post-op weight loss surgery. And I'm also very interested in diabetes, so I would like to also eventually become a certified diabetes educator. Because of my interest in weight science and bariatric care, I fully support intentional weight loss, especially if it's medically necessary, but I support healthy, sustainable weight loss. I don't support the diet culture aspect of weight loss. In my perception of diet culture is waist trainers, detox teas, 21-day fixes, or 3-day refreshes, things like that. Not everyone who pursues intentional weight loss is going to get an eating disorder. Not everyone who pursues intentional weight loss is going to develop health problems. I think it depends on how you pursue intentional weight loss. Anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to go on that rant. Now, one of the other issues that I have with intuitive eating is not actually with intuitive eating itself. This is not intuitive eating's fault. It's social media's fault. It's how intuitive eating has been influenced by social media and by the world. I have noticed many people in social media take intuitive eating and twist it to fit a narrative so that it becomes more of a justification for just shoveling food into your face without any regard to how it might impact your health. A lot of these people reject the science that says that being at an excessive weight is not healthy and instead say, eat the whole pizza because you want to, because you love yourself. But that is not intuitive eating. I also feel that this mindset puts mental health above physical health, but they're both important, and true intuitive eating actually encourages honoring both mental health and physical health. All that being said, I still do believe that intuitive eating could be helpful for some people to look into, especially for people who want to like break away from being what I call serial dieter. But because there's so many people in social media who have taken intuitive eating and kind of concorded it to fit their own narrative rather than actually studying what intuitive eating really is. Personally, I think that Ashlie Molstad is one of those people. It's extremely important that the person that you are learning intuitive eating from knows what the they're talking about.
Something that you said when we were in DMs, you said you felt like at about a week in to this course, you said you felt like she didn't know what she was talking about. What do you mean by that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, because like I had already kind of started to look into the actual intuitive eating, book, and none of those like 10 principles were really like outlined here. Like since then, I've done an 8-week intuitive eating group coaching with a certified intuitive eating who actually is an ex-Beachbody coach.
Oh, no way.
On Instagram, yeah, and she's certified. She's a lay facilitator, certified intuitive eating, and she's awesome. But like I did her 8-week course, and like it was completely outlined based on what was taught in the book. And when you become certified, like they give you materials like that you can offer your clients, like it's not, I don't have to make up my own version of what I think intuitive eating is, it's an actual thing. And like, they actually have materials and workbooks and sheets that people can work on, to work through like the different principles. Like, so her thing was like, kind of like love yourself, move your body if you feel like it, like,
which is like, duh.
You want to lose weight just as long as it's not because you think it's going to make you value yourself more.
Okay. I mean, that stuff is like obvious, I feel like.
Yeah, right.
As I just said, one of the people who has taken this more extreme, skewed stance on intuitive eating is Ashlie Molstad. in my opinion. She has spoken before about her ideals on intuitive eating and what intuitive eating is, and she has said, and I quote, "You can eat whatever you want, whenever you want."
I feel like it is crazy how just the diet culture is just webbed into our every fiber of our being, every thought that we think, and we think that we're saying something good. Like someone was like, yeah, because I was like, you can have whatever you want whenever you want, and someone commented and said like, yeah, everything in moderation. I'm like, but that's diet culture.
That's not intuitive eating though. That's just lacking the concept of understanding moderation. I want to bring up something that I actually did not in the video. Frequently, you have probably heard Ashlie say something like, so-and-so sounds good. She says, whatever food or drink sounds good. That's the language she uses. I'll put in a couple examples of her doing this in a minute. But this language, I feel like, further highlights to me that she really has no idea what intuitive eating is and has just been using it as a justification for eating whatever she wants as soon as she wants it. Since Melissa is becoming a certified intuitive eating counselor, I wanted to ask her about this because it doesn't seem correct to me, and I have done my research on intuitive eating, but I would expect Melissa to know more about it than me because she is getting certified in it. So I sent her a DM. So here's my DM to her. Intuitive eating question/comment. In discussions surrounding IE, Ashlie frequently says XXX sounds good. It seems like her version of intuitive eating is also based on if some food/drink sounds satisfying, but I thought intuitive eating was more about learning to listen to and honor your internal hunger cues. To me, this seems like yet another flaw in the way she practices/preaches intuitive eating. Thoughts? Melissa responded, one of the IE principles is, quote, discover the satisfaction factor, end quote, and it focuses on connecting with what flavors, textures, temperatures, etc. are satisfying to you when choosing meals, as well as ensuring you are eating enough to satisfy your hunger. There's a lot more nuance than just, this margarita sounds good, so I'm going to drink it. You also learn to tune in to how different foods make you feel. She's basically cherry picking what she thinks intuitive eating is supposed to mean and then wrapping it up in a big life coach school burrito that she claims is a $5,000 value.
I'm about to make an Aperol Spritz. I already had 2 cookies. But also John made me my superfood shake, and I will probably have like chicken and kale for dinner because that's what sounds good. Cookies, alcohol, superfoods. So drinking and having banana bread sounded good today. Another intuitive eating win. Buying a watermelon at a store and then eating it right out of the damn bowl. I don't gotta measure shit. I don't gotta think about shit. I just gotta listen to my body when it says, watermelon sounds good. That's it. I am an intuitive eater. I could choose a cookie right now, but a salad sounded good. Cookie might sound good later, but right now, this is what sounds good.
In my opinion, if you really want to learn about intuitive eating, then you should seek the word of a certified intuitive eating counselor or somebody who holds the intuitive eating lay facilitator certification. The coursework for both of these to become a certified intuitive eating counselor or an intuitive eating lay facilitator are both offered by the original creators of intuitive eating, Evelyn Treble and Elise Reich. So I would hold both of them in very high regard because of that. They're made by the creators of intuitive eating. Now, these certifications are both different. The certified intuitive eating counselor certification was created in 2007. It is for allied health professionals such as registered dietitians, medical technologists, psychiatrists, etc. You have to have a bachelor's degree or higher to qualify to be able to take this one. Intuitive eating lay facilitator is their newest certification, and that one is for people who are not allied health professionals. The lay facilitator certification allows non-healthcare professionals to teach the principles of intuitive eating. They just will not have the in-depth knowledge that certified intuitive eating counselors have. Examples of someone eligible for the intuitive eating lay facilitator certification are a student peer counselor or a support group leader. Did you knock? Bye, honey. Husband, by the way. So if Ashlie were certified in intuitive eating education, then I would expect that she would have this lay facilitator certification because, as far as we know, she is not a licensed healthcare professional. So on the website, intuitiveeating.org, they actually have a tool where you can search the database for every certified intuitive eating counselor or lay facilitator that is certified through their program. I use this search function to see if Ashlie Molstad had either of these certifications. I first used it to search for people who I know for sure are actually intuitive eating counselors, and their names came up as I expected. I guess I kind of did that like as a control just to make sure that the database was like working correctly. All right, we had to take a quick commercial break because my camera was overheating because I've been filming all day. So I typed Ashlie Molstad's name into this database and her name did not appear in any search. I searched it multiple times on different days. I even intentionally misspelled her name in a couple different ways to see if maybe her name was in the database as spelled wrong, and I never found her. So I hold the assumption that Ashlie Molstad is not a certified intuitive eating counselor or a certified intuitive eating lay facilitator.
Because at that point, this was mid-January, I guess. It started January of last year, and of this year, 2021. So I had started looking into, because being a registered dietitian, you have to do continuing education credits. And again, my 5-year certification period was coming up, and I needed to start getting some credit, and I definitely wasn't getting it with this program. So the actual intuitive eating program has a course, so it was a 75 credit course that I did online with the book and the workbook and some webinars. And while I was going through that process while still in this, and saying, she made one reference to the book Intuitive Eating, actually the workbook, on like the 6th module of her program. Yeah. And then she even said, this is the first time I'm opening this book. I just wanted to look at it to give you some homework.
Wait a minute. You call yourself an intuitive eating person and you've never even read the book? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, no, and this was like the work, because they have the book, and then there's a workbook that came out, I guess, a little bit after that. So like she was talking about the workbook, and she's like, oh, and the other book is really good too. Like, so assuming she read the original book and then talking about the workbook, that it had been her first time opening that workbook. I don't know.
Wow. So I've done some research on the intuitive eating and things like that. I made a video about it, like, I think it was sometime last year, and I expressed like some of my opinions about it, like some pros and cons, and those opinions still stand, but I am a little bit more, I think I'm more open-minded to it now since I've learned more about it. And I think it's something that certain people can aspire to, but I feel like when people want to explore intuitive eating, they should do it through somebody who's actually a professional and actually certified in it. A registered dietitian who is becoming a certified intuitive eating counselor. Yeah. And so intuitive eating was developed by, I don't need to tell you this, I'm saying this mostly for the video. Evelyn Treble, and what was the other one's name?
Elise Resch.
It was developed by those two dietitians. So I would put a lot of weight on their, like, they have developed the coursework and the framework for what it means, for what intuitive eating is and what it means to become an certified intuitive eating counselor. And then the other certification, I believe, is for people who are not in allied health, which is intuitive eating lay facilitator. Right. And those two, the coursework for that is really just, it's through them. I think it's intuitiveeating.org. So I would put a lot of weight and a lot of, I would just put a lot on that certification. And there's a function on that website where you can kind of search the database to see is this person like a lay facilitator, or is this person a certified counselor? And I've searched Ashlie Molstad's name in that several times, and her name doesn't come up in the database. So I'm going based on that. I don't believe she is actually certified intuitive eating lay facilitator. I mean, I don't think she doesn't have a healthcare background to my knowledge. So she definitely can't be a certified intuitive eating counselor. So to me, it just kind of seems like she's somebody who got on social media, thinks she knows what intuitive eating is, and then decided to make a course about it. And it seems like she gets it very wrong too, because like you said before, her idea of intuitive eating is eat whatever you want, whenever you want, however much you want, but that's not intuitive eating. And what's funny is I've actually in a video, Ashlie has said that before. Intuitive eating is eat whatever you want, whenever you want. It's not what intuitive eating is. So you can tell that she kind of has her own definition of it. And it's not right. It's not based on the principles of actual intuitive eating.
Ashlie Molstad is also seen in her Instagram stories very frequently, either drinking or about to start drinking or talking about drinking.
I also don't believe in choosing between dessert and drinks. I'm about to make an Aperol Spritz. I already had 2 cookies. Came out with some new flavors. I cannot wait to try this watermelon. My favorite's lemon lime, just your standard lemon lime, but apple pie and then guava. And I think this one's like the yummy flavor that they've had, and that is so good mixed with rum. Still really like eating like we did on the cleanse, and I was like, oh, except for you had 25 spiked seltzers today and a whole shit ton of banana bread. And I thought, wow, this is what intuitive eating is. And so I wanted to share. So I did the seltzer tasting today, got drunk. We're going deep. We're going deep. You know what I mean? Deep. All right, so here's the deal. I walked through the aisles today and I saw these new seltzers and I said, Shan, we're not driving. Her husband's driving her. My parents are picking me and Rev up. So I was like, are you down? We're the most response you've ever seen. So I saw these and I thought, are you down for a Scentsy tasting? And she said,
well, she texted me, are you down? And I said, always.
100%. Yeah. Every single time. So Bud Light sour, blue raspberry, watermelon, lemon, and lime.
Yeah.
Apple. So we're going in.
Blackberry,
so we got blackberry, raspberry,
blueberry, and raspberry.
Currant. I feel like black currant pomegranate's gonna be my least favorite.
We're going hard in the paint over here.
Well, yeah, we are. Then I think blueberry hibiscus is gonna be my second. I think blackberry's gonna be my number 1 and raspberry's gonna be my second. I think it's gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4. Are you good with that? Because you sort of forced this on me. You forced this on like that order, and so I'm forcing this on you.
I want you to force me.
I'm gonna force.
Hold me hostage.
I can't say anything I want to say. Okay, here we go. Okay. Black currant and pomegranate.
Okay.
Now, she's an adult. She is allowed to enjoy alcohol, but I would say that drinking excessively and or / frequently is not exactly health promoting behavior. Something that is highly troubling about this is the fact that she frequently is seen using intuitive eating to justify her frequent drinking.
Is it safe to say she was drinking on almost every weekly call?
Yeah.
Really? Jeez. So it seemed like to you that she was drinking, first of all, on just about every call. And it seemed like she kind of used intuitive eating to kind of justify her frequent drinking.
Yeah, totally.
Really?
Yeah.
Obviously, once again, that's not me. This is not fear mongering. Okay. I'm not trying. This is not an alcohol is bad PSA, because the fact is, as long as you're of legal drinking age, occasional alcohol consumption, moderate alcohol consumption in most healthy adults is perfectly okay. What I find troubling is the fact that, like I said, Ashlie frequently uses intuitive eating to justify her frequent drinking, and that's not really Let's talk now about her Body Positive Badass course. As I mentioned earlier, Ashlie Molstad launched this course called Body Positive Badass earlier this year, or I guess in 2021. In this course, she promises to help you free yourself of the diet mentality, help you rid yourself of feelings of guilt or shame surrounding eating certain foods or eating in general, and help you learn to love and appreciate your body. So what about the course itself, though? It's at this point I'm going to take a little break from running my mouth, and I'm going to insert a good chunk of interview footage of me and Melissa talking strictly about the course and about her experience in the course.
Are you technically, like you said, the Ashley's course is 12 weeks? Are you, is it technically still going?
Oh no, it started in January, ended I guess in March.
Okay.
And honestly, I doubt that she'll even ever have this again, but she will be doing something else, you know, because she has recently done like an IGTV kind of saying, well, you know what, intuitive eating isn't really working for me and I really want to lose weight. So how can I be body positive and want to lose weight? I think that was the name of her video.
Oh, I got to find that one.
Yeah, it's pretty recent in the IGTVs. That's fine. I mean, she says, oh, body positivity anti-diet says you can't want to lose weight and you can't do that. It really doesn't. Like nobody is telling her she can't want to lose weight.
Did she ever address, she's made an Instagram post before about this, but I wonder if she's ever talked about it in the calls. Has she ever addressed like, because I know people criticize her a lot for this. How do you call yourself aligned with intuitive eating and body positivity and stuff like that, but also you align yourself with a company that has crap like the 21-day fix and the 3-day refresh and things like that? Has she ever talked about that?
Oh, yeah. And she said she like mutes like the trainers, like Autumn, like, because I think at the time when this was in January is when everybody was doing 9-week control freak and how I messed up my shoulder and then found you. And then I was like, oh, it's not just me. Like, this is really good. Yeah. So she was doing that at the time. And she was like, oh, I turned I can't listen to her. Like she said, oh, Autumn is like epitome of diet culture and I can't listen to her. And like some of her messaging is very toxic. So you'll see when she does her videos with her working out on IG stories, like she'll be playing some like podcast over the workout, like, or, so she's like not even listening to the cueing of the trainers who supposedly created these programs the right way. And like, I always thought that was a little odd because it's like, as much as I really don't care to hear Autumn because she talks a lot, like even when she's not, like she just doesn't stop talking, and it was like, oh my God. But I had to keep the volume on because I needed to know, like, am I doing this right? And I shouldn't have been doing it at all, really, but whatever. I was like, I wanted to hear the person who's a certified trainer telling me what to do. Yeah. So that was her answer to that. And like,
not really an answer either.
No. And then she was like, well, diet culture isn't really toxic in and of itself. It's my thoughts about it that are saying it's toxic because it works for other people. So, and this was one quote from this course that I was like, I had to like replay and make sure I heard it correctly. It's how you think about it. Like, so it can't be toxic. It's only the way you think about it that's toxic.
So it's kind of almost like it's your mentality is the problem about
that. And I feel like that's like, and there's a lot of that in the personal development and the Beachbody thing in general. It's all like, you have to just think it, manifest it, put it on a vision board, and it totally disregards like people's like privileges and their access to different things. And like, And then she even said that too. She's like, well, I'm saying, obviously, if you're able to do this course, then you obviously have internet. And then that means you must have money for food. Like, so saying like, oh, well, I'm not,
So you told us you paid $247 for the course. Mm-hmm. It's 12-week course. And you got one time a week, a 1-hour Zoom call. Was that one-on-one or was that like with everybody else who, like, did you get one-on-one time with her?
No, it was with it was like a Zoom link was sent out. Like there was a private Facebook group and like, so there would be a Zoom link there. And then, whoever was able to attend at that time, otherwise it'd be a replay, emailed to you. And then you had access to it. Like I still have access to it now, like it was actually in like an outside, website that has like one of those like teaching kind of things. So it's just like all modules and you can just log in and go back to it whenever.
And do you still have access to that stuff now? You said you do?
Yeah.
Okay. So did you ever get, so it sounds like, okay, you paid and then you get the Facebook group and then there's like learning modules that I guess you're supposed to take and they're supposed to teach you whatever they're supposed to teach you. And then you have the weekly Zoom calls. Was there ever any one-on-one direct communication with her?
Yeah, so the first 150 people who signed up for this course got VIP spotlight access. So at the end of each, like I said, the lessons were like maybe 20 minutes themselves. So like the rest of the Zoom call, that they were usually about an hour long, she was like live coaching people. So the people who had like, gotten those spots, like they got first dibs on that. Like, so they could raise their hand in the Zoom with a question, and then she would like bring them on live and like how we are now on Zoom, and like talk to them through their issues. And it was like the life coaching stuff, like where it's like, and it just made me really uncomfortable because like they went long. It was like listening in on somebody's like therapy session, which I'm really not to be a jerk or anything, but I just really wasn't interested in like listening to it.
But also really private.
I felt like it was very like something that should have been confidential, like, it's kind of like things I would talk to my actual therapist about, you know what I mean?
So even these people who you said the first 150 got VIP access, even the VIP access wasn't like completely private and one-on-one with her. So it was like this, but there would be other people on the call so people could see and hear.
Oh yeah. And but she did also offer one-on-one, but that was a separate charge. Like if you go on her website, she has like one-on-one coaching sessions, and there were a lot. I don't remember the number, but
and that didn't come with the $247 you paid. So you had to pay extra if you wanted one-on-one. So you never even got direct one-on-one private time with her.
No.
For this course. Oh, I don't like that. Like she's like trying to give this like public therapy. That would make me uncomfortable.
Yeah. It really was. And so like, like I would have to turn it off at that point, because I just felt like, so it's like weird. It's like you're like eavesdropping on somebody's therapy session.
And I'm sure people kind of sometimes got into like really private stuff, and she was putting that on for, 100, 200, however many people to see.
Yeah.
Huh. That's weird. I don't like that.
Yeah. And, and the other thing too, you can get, it's very, touchy territory too, when you're getting into this, intuitive eating space, where people who have legitimate like eating disorder or disordered eating, where you're not qualified to address those issues. So they're coming on live and they're talking, and you hear it, and it's like there's obviously something there where they need like a certified professional that would work with like eating disorder or something, counseling, because it's not just their thoughts. They can't just like change their thought, if they have body dysmorphia and all these things, like it's not that easy to just say, well, just don't think like that anymore. Just look in the mirror and say you're beautiful. Like.
Do you feel like that was her like attitude? Like people would say things like that to her, like come with her with like, I have XYZ disorder or something like that.
Yeah.
And her solution
was when they specifically named that they had like a clinically diagnosed disorder, she would say, I'm not qualified to talk about that. Like they said, I have anxiety, depression, like that was clinically diagnosed. She would shut that down. So that I did respect that. And like she did say, if you have depression, you got to see a certified mental health counselor, get on medication, all that stuff, like, but people were like, as they were talking through their stuff, like some red flags were coming up, and that wasn't like really like, wait, maybe,
It's a red flag to you because you've been a nutrition professional for 15 years. Right. I was just still dying laughing at that screenshot you sent of me of her putting on deodorant in a group call. How was she like in these group calls? Like how was her behavior? Was she like professional? Was she super casual? You said she was drinking like almost all the time. Yeah, very casual, dropping a few F-bomb kind of things, but I know that's her personality. And I felt that she was a lot more professional and likable the way she presented herself on this course as when I see her just putting it all out there on Instagram. On these calls, this is what I'm trying to work out in my head. You had these calls once a week that were an hour. They were not one-on-one because everybody was on the call. So it was just, you guys would just sit and watch her. And what was it a different topic? I assume it was like a different topic every week. Yeah. was it the kind of format where she just is like sitting and talking about something? Does she like share a screen and like show a PowerPoint or something?
Yeah, she did have PowerPoint. She's big on that kind of like design kind of thing. Like, so she had very fancy fonts and pictures and things.
So here's what I'm trying to figure this out. The course is called Body Positive Badass. And I feel like in my mind that entails, like I mentioned this before, some stuff about like loving and respecting your body and like how to incorporate things like exercise and be, happy with yourself and stuff like that. When did that come in? Because it sounds like a lot of life coaching stuff and like the typical kind of BS manifestation crap and a little bit of intuitive eating. So what did she talk about that was supposed to help you become a body positive badass?
She had one module that was about movement, and that one I felt like she made the most valid points and the most sense on, like saying like that you should be moving yourself from a place of love, and like do something that you like, like things like that. Like don't force yourself to do like a program that like I did. Don't force yourself through 9 weeks when you realize that it's not working for you. Like she did say those, but those are things that I feel like they're kind of like obvious, they're kind of common sense kind of things that things that you've heard before if you've read any kind of self-help books or any kind of inspirational meme, like thing, it wasn't anything like groundbreaking or new, like. But then like people would say, what workouts do you recommend? And she's like, well, you can be doing anything. You could be walking, you can be doing this. But if you want my code, Beachbody, I do, if you're not already working with the coach, I could set you up with Beachbody on demand. She had sent out like a mid-program survey, and I really told her what I thought of it. Yeah. And she actually, like, it was so funny because she did like a live in the Facebook group. She's like, one of you was really not happy with what's going on. And she's like, but that's okay. You're entitled to your opinion. So I'm like, all right. But she's like, I respect that, whatever, like it's not for everybody. Then she started pitching what was coming next and saying that we're doing a master course. And it was something that people were like, well, if we're already in this, do we automatically like get access to this? Like, no, this is something you're going to have to pay for, another separate course. But she's like, we're going to be talking about hormones. We're going to be talking about fasting. What? And we're going to be talking about all these. And I was just like, oh, like, now we're like, it's one thing just to like put up like these little like sayings and inspirational things. But now you're going to be really talking about things that you have no business talking about.
Exactly. So she was offering the master course, which was not like, it didn't come with it for you guys. You guys had-
No, it was the prerequisite was that you had to have completed this 12-week course first, but then you would have to purchase this master course. And like, I think there was 500 or so that were in this, Body Positive Badass course. And I think by the time it went to the master course, it might've been 80 people who
wow.
Yeah.
Maybe lots of people dropped out for the similar reason you did.
Yeah. But I know a lot of people were saying, oh, we don't think we're ready. We want to repeat this again. And like, she's like, oh, don't worry. I'll be offering this again,
Wow. So like, I remember you said 500 people and then it was at like 247. Let's do some quick math. 247. Holy crap. So she made like damn near $125,000. And that's not even at the full price of $1,200.
If you look at that IGTV that she did recently, like I said, it kind of sounds like she's kind of distancing herself from this now, like the intuitive eating side. But there'll be something else. And so like people need to just be aware, like they have a lot of followers on Instagram. They, are aligned with Beachbody or any other MLM, like kind of do some research into the background of like how, qualified they are to talk about this now.
Final closing thoughts. Do you feel like it was worth the money that you paid?
Oh, no, absolutely not.
No.
But I'm getting my money's worth now that I'm able to like, talk about it to people and let people know that, you know, you want to, like you said, look into who's actually certified in anything that you're looking into. You got to go to somebody who has some sort of background. Like you said, even with the coaching, you know, they can't be, you know, they bought the starter pack. It's not the same.
So now here we are closer to the current times. A more recent development in Ashlie is she's kind of starting to shift away from not intuitive eating, because she said she's still going to be like intuitive eating in the video that we're about to watch anyway. She's kind of shifting her whole mindset, which is really interesting because she now wants to lose weight for herself for aesthetic reasons. You guys know me. I believe there's absolutely nothing wrong with wanting to lose weight for aesthetic purposes. I think as long as it's healthy, sustainable weight loss and coming from a positive place, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So as Melissa mentioned in our chat, Ashlie pretty recently posted an IGTV. In this IGTV, which I did watch multiple times, she basically said that her mindset is shifting away from the extreme side of anti-diet, anti-intentional weight loss to like, well, I actually want to lose weight now, and I know that that's okay to do. And I honestly commend her for that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think that being in this extreme camp of all intentional weight loss is bad. I don't agree with that. You disagree with that? That's okay. I respectfully disagree with you, but if you're going to jump in my comment section and yell at me for being fat phobic, I will not be engaging with you.
And I would see people saying like, oh, I'm wanting to lose weight from a place of love to see how good I can feel. And I'm like, that doesn't seem quite accurate, right? Like, is that even possible? It did not even seem possible to me that you could choose a salad instead of pizza, even if you want the pizza, but choose it because you're like, I know the pizza's gonna make me feel like shit. The salad's gonna make me feel better. I'm like, no, the pizza's gonna make me feel great. I like the power of saying yes in the moment. And so I just thought all of the people that were saying that were lying. Like, it just didn't compute to me. And then I started feeling kind of crappy. Like, I've been an intuitive eater now for 4 years probably. And I just started to feel kind of crappy. I swung the pendulum to the other side where it's like the second I thought of something, I had to go eat it. And that led to me just not really challenging myself or leveling up or staying true to what actually makes me feel good. Because I'm like, well, if I see a cookie or if I think about a cookie, it feels good to say yes. So now I've evolved more, and I didn't like the rules that body positivity and anti-diet placed on me. You know, there's just a lot of rules around how you can be properly body positive or anti-diet, and I don't like it. I'm an Enneagram 8. I don't like rules. I want to make my own. But I felt like I was in this weird space because I built my whole brand around anti-diet and body positivity, but I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to do it my way. So now, you know, I'm a life coach, and I realize that everything in our life is a result of our minds, is a result of our thinking. So when I didn't like my body, it was not my body was the problem. It was my thoughts about the body. When I didn't like diet culture, it was not diet culture that was the problem. It was my thoughts about diet culture. When I didn't like body positivity, it was not body positivity that was the problem. It was my thoughts about it. And again, like, I didn't really have any super strong thoughts about it. It was just like, I just felt sort of stuck. Like oh wait, so I can't prioritize my health? Like, so I got coached on it, and she was like, why is it a problem for you if you want to lose weight? And I'm like, well, because I've never lost weight from a place of love. I've never lost weight from a place of like, my body deserves this. Like, I've never done it from a place that isn't shameful, right? And she's like, okay, but like, isn't it possible? And that was where I was like, what? Like, it never even occurred to me that it was possible to truly love yourself and want to lose weight from a place of love. And some of you, if you are in the body positive community, anti-diet, and you've been following me for a long time, you're like, what? Ashlie, this sounds like bullshit. I was you. I've been you. I've been you for the last 3 years. Anytime someone was like, I'm body positive and I'm gonna lose weight, I'm like, then you're not body positive.
She's confirmed a lot about what I've been saying, kind of about what we already sort of know. She doesn't really understand the principles of intuitive eating. And for a long time, she admitted that she was in the camp of you can't lose weight and be body positive. She's mentioned that she's been an intuitive eater for 4 years and started to feel bad about just like giving into everything she wanted to eat because she felt like she wasn't challenging herself anymore. And I definitely see that.
Years ago, when I first started with Beachbody, I was pretty ripped, pretty damn lean, like 20 to 30 pounds lighter than I am right now. And I would not work out without a sweatshirt on or without a shirt on, like just sports bra and bottoms, because I don't want you to see my rolls. And now I'm like, I just don't care. Like, I love myself, my body, my life, and I want to challenge myself, and I want to level up, right? It's not either or, it's yes and both. I can actually honor my health, and it's okay to have these goals. You know, she's like, why do you want to lose weight? And I'm like, just because I think, like, I want to be able to wear some of the things that are in my closet. I know I binged or purged a whole bunch of things, but I kept a couple of things I was really excited about that I really love. And I'm not attached to them. I know I can always buy new clothes. My identity and my confidence is not wrapped up in me getting into those clothes again. I just want to. You know, like I want to. I feel better in a smaller body. And I know I have work to do on my brain where like that's not necessary. And I know it's possible because of where I was to where I am now. Did that just interrupt me? I set this thing on Instagram to go off when I've been on it for 2 hours. So it just popped up on my screen. And I don't know if that made me, like if my words aren't going to match my lips now. But because I find that so annoying when it happens. So let me know if you guys can. I'm loving all the hearts, by the way. Thanks so much. Uh-oh, they just stopped. So maybe that thing did F me up. Did it? Can you comment? Anyway, so that's where I'm at. Okay, I'm still here, but how are my lips with my sound? Does the sound match it, you know? So anyway, that's where I'm at, right? And I still am an intuitive eater, but it was like I am fully in the driver's seat now. Like I am fully like, I get to do what makes me feel good. And I like to drink, guys. I like to drink. But I also know if I drink every day, that doesn't feel good. And for a long time when I was in the body positive anti-diet space, it was like, if you think about something and you're restricting yourself, then you're doing it wrong. It's like, what if we didn't look at it as restriction? What if we looked at it as a way to honor our highest self? You know? So that's where I'm at. It took me a long time to get clarity on this journey myself, and to bring this, to be able to talk about it publicly, because I had a lot of shame. One of my biggest fears was people are going to think you're a fraud, right? How do you be a body positive advocate and want to be smaller? And it's like, fuck. So when I got coached on it, I don't know where, the thing that I came up with was like, because wanting to be smaller has nothing to do with me loving myself, my body, my life. I know life doesn't get better if I do lose weight. I know I took notes, but I don't know. I'm so disorganized. I don't know what book it's in. Anyway, I don't know where it is. Anyway, so, yeah, it feels really good to be like, I can have goals to challenge myself. I do know that that is when I feel the best, when I'm challenging myself. Now, will I beat myself up if I have something that I know isn't like what I actually want? No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not doing the whole like, there is a right way and a wrong way to do it. There is an on-off switch. That I do not believe there is good food and bad food. I believe there are choices that honor your health and choices that don't. And a lot of times, I think the body positive community had almost moved into a place where it's like, now we only honor our mental health at the expense of our physical health. But then what that does in long term is, for me at least, that was sort of a detriment to my mental health, because it was like, it made me feel like I was doing something wrong if I did want to prioritize feeling. I was going to open my course, Body Positive Badass, like it was going to kick off on November 1st, but I just feel like I'm so focused on Beachbody and I'm in this lane right now that I don't know if I want to pivot, but the course is ready. Like it is so beautiful and so wonderful. And so when I
figure it out. I will launch it, and I'll love to and I'm learning and evolving, and I feel like I have I can wrap this up in a nice little bow to teach you how to go from, to stop hating your body and stop outsourcing all of your decisions to, I call it insourcing, learning to trust yourself again, becoming an intuitive eater, and really honoring and prioritizing your health, and that you can lose weight. Just so mind-blowing. Anyway.
She said she's gained 20 to 30 pounds, and while she loves her body, she's just more comfortable in a smaller body. All that being said, she said she is still going to practice intuitive eating, and all I have to say to that is I hope that she actually learns what intuitive eating really is, because the last few years she has just gotten it way wrong. And the thing that's worse about that is she's taught people her wrong way of intuitive eating. She's taught people this incorrect way of I want to say something now that I did not mention in the video. Ashlie told us that she shifted from the extreme mindset of you can't be body positive and want to lose weight, anti-diet means anti-weight loss, and all that kind of stuff. Melissa made a good point before, and she said, well, no one told her she can't lose weight, but there are a lot of people in the body positive and anti-diet community who do say the pursuit of intentional weight loss is bad and totally condemn it. I personally disagree with this. I think you can love yourself and still have the desire to change your body. So it seems like Ashlie was maybe just following the people who take that extreme stance. And as Melissa said, no one told her she can't lose weight. I think I do have a unique position here because while I don't fully align myself with intuitive eating, I actually still think it could be positive for certain people to apply and learn more about from the right person. Applying intuitive eating as an adult is difficult because adults are just not natural intuitive eaters. We have that natural ability as children, but we lose it as we age. So that's why, as an adult, learning true intuitive eating is hard. And it's so important, I think, that you listen to the right people if you want to learn more about it. So I think Ashlie wanting to lose weight is fine. That's her body. But the basis of intuitive eating is that the focus is actually not on weight. It's not about gaining or losing weight. The work is more mental and about better developing your sense of tapping into your internal hunger cues, honoring your body with nourishing food, respecting your fullness, as well as other things. I just simplified that a lot, but those are some of the key elements of intuitive eating. An example of someone who may choose intuitive eating is someone who's been a serial dieter their entire life, and they have no idea how not to diet. Another good example is I had a client one time who had lost a significant amount of weight, and she didn't crash diet. She did not do anything crazy to lose that weight, but she did want to learn how to transition back to eating like normally again, not for the purpose of weight loss, while also still maintaining her weight loss. She pursued intuitive eating and it ended up working out really well for her, and she's maintained her weight loss while having a good relationship with food and exercise still. So not everyone is like that, though. There's a lot of mindset work that goes into intuitive eating, and depending on your goals, not everyone may be a great candidate for intuitive eating, and I think that's fine. A true professional in intuitive eating would let you know that, too. So for Ashlie to say that she's going to relaunch her program but teach the principles of intuitive eating to include weight loss chats makes no sense from the technical standpoint of what intuitive eating is, because the focus is not about weight. And this highlights to me that she still doesn't understand the core principles of intuitive eating. At the time of editing this, she had an informational webinar the other night, and I'm actually talking to someone right now who was in the webinar. This person told me that Ashlie continued to reiterate that she will be rolling in weight loss with the intuitive eating stuff, which makes it objectively not intuitive eating, and is also a bit misleading considering she's also advertising it as intuitive eating. Lastly, I just want to add this related note. Abby Sharp of the YouTube channel Abby's Kitchen just posted a YouTube video the other day reacting to and discussing Jillian Michaels' take on intuitive eating. The video, Jillian's video, not Abby's video, is just a complete clusterfuck. Jillian has a laptop open and she's looking at the intuitive eating website at the principles of intuitive eating. So she's reading them one by one, but she completely misinterprets them, and unsurprisingly, Jillian seems to find a way to kind of take it back to weight loss. I must admit, I used to have a negative perception of intuitive eating, and it was because my thought process was sort of aligned with Jillian's, and it was because I was listening to the wrong people preaching IE as well. The people that say that intuitive eating is eat whatever you want, whenever you want. Abby does a fantastic job at better elaborating on the principles and pointing out the many flaws in Jillian's logic, and what I love about Abby is the fact that she's open-minded to both intuitive eating and intentional weight loss. Abby made a video a few months ago discussing some great tips for people seeking healthy, sustainable weight loss. She felt like it was like a controversial video, but it's really not. I mean, she's a nutrition professional. If you get weight loss tips from anyone in social media, it should be a nutrition professional, because without videos like that, people will turn to crash diets, fad diets, or starve themselves, which could ultimately lead to health problems and maybe even an eating disorder. So I'm glad Abby made that video because it's helpful. And I feel like the fact that Abby understands why healthy, sustainable weight loss practices are important, and also understands intuitive eating and understands that the basis of intuitive eating is not weight, means she's very open-minded as a professional, and I just really love that about her. So everyone, go follow Abby Sharp. Do it now. Queen Lemon commands it. And you can also start to see this shift in her recent Instagram posts. Intentional eating is actually not about eating every single thing you want the second it pops into your brain. Although this is where it started for me for sure, and where I've been the last 3 years. Intentional eating is about listening to your body. Intuitive eating is also personal. It is based on each person's bodies and desires. I was eating primarily processed foods, which made my life easy and simple. No cooking, no dishes. But I was struggling majorly with the afternoon crash and brain fog, making my life not so easy and simple. So I'm testing this out, and right now it feels good. If it stops feeling good, then I'll stop too. But just because somebody chooses to reduce their consumption of something to see if it makes them feel better, and does not mean they're falling prey to diet culture or doing intuitive eating wrong. That's just silly. If someone tries to tell you that you're doing intuitive eating wrong, just remind them that you've been listening to everyone else's rules about your body for years, and now you're finally listening to your own. If they've got a problem, they can peace the F out. You feel me? So, something about this particular post that she said, for the last however many years, 3 years, she said as soon as it popped into her head, she just ate it. And during this time, that's what she was kind of peddling, her version of intuitive eating, which again is not intuitive eating. And I want to add to that too. She keeps on saying, you're not doing intuitive eating right. And she put that in quotes. I wonder who she's quoting there. The thing about that is when Evelyn Treball and Elise Reich developed intuitive eating, they developed it with certain methodologies in mind. And if you're following this way, then there is a right and wrong way to do it. They have a certification course. Somebody doesn't become a certified intuitive eating counselor and then just does intuitive eating their way. That's not right. So I would actually argue that there is a right and wrong way to do it. And the way that Ashlie was doing it, in my opinion, based on what I know about intuitive eating, was not the right way. Eating whatever you want, whenever you want, using intuitive eating to justify frequent alcohol consumption, that's not intuitive eating. That's just you eating whatever you want, whenever you want. There's a right way to do open heart surgery, and there's a wrong way to do open heart surgery. There's a right way to drive a car, and a wrong way to drive a car. So I get what she's saying about wanting to do things your way. Yeah, I get it. But I don't really want my cardiac surgeon doing open heart surgery his way. I'm sure there are different ways to do open heart surgery, but they're probably all ways that have been studied, tried, and are taught to open heart surgeons. Do you know what I mean? I would actually argue and say, yeah, there is a right and wrong way to do intuitive eating. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing that she kind of, was doing things her own way, because honestly, nobody's going to get it perfectly. That's why in my opinion, if you want to learn about intuitive eating, you should talk to somebody who's actually studied it, because they can actually teach you the correct methodology and the right way to actually do it. But the biggest issue that I just have to take is you've taught people your way of intuitive eating without even bothering to take the certification course based on our knowledge, based on our research. You've taught people your way of intuitive eating, but it's not really intuitive eating anymore. It's your own version of it. That's what I'll say about that. So it seems she's shifted to this other mode of eating. And honestly, I don't know. I hope it works for her. I really do. She admits that she's been a serial dieter before. That's a term I mentioned earlier in the video. Sometimes I wonder if people like her just need to be doing something so that they feel like there is some type of structure. What they're doing has to have a label on it, you know what I'm saying? Intentional eating that she just said, that's another new thing that she seemingly adopted. First she was intuitive eating, now she's intentional eating. It's interesting. All that to say is I genuinely hope she's okay. And I hope that she finds some sense of happy with herself, her body, and her relationship with food. In conclusion, I think that Ashlie Molstad is just like a lot of other people who are at the very top of multi-level marketing companies who are starting to shift to other avenues of making money and supporting themselves after their income starts to take a hit from the disintegration of their downline. Maybe that's not necessarily completely the case for her. I do infer that though, because of the fact that she's not been voted top of the company, even top 10. And she also is spending less and less time talking about Beachbody on her social media. I actually very rarely see her talk about Beachbody on Instagram. As far as her certification on life coaching, I personally question the validity and legitimacy of it. Not just because of the course she took, honestly, but more so because of some of the stuff that Melissa told us about what she experienced taking Ashley's course. I'm referring to that manifestation stuff. I also personally do not consider her an intuitive eating professional. We have no evidence that she has taken the actual intuitive eating coursework, and she's made it abundantly obvious across her social media posts and in her Body Positive Badass course that she really doesn't understand the true principles of intuitive eating. She just kind of put her own spin on it to make it mean what she needs it to mean in the moment, in my opinion. I would take her advice on intuitive eating with a pinch of pink Himalayan sea salt, and that's just my opinion based on the evidence. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. If you made it this far, comment... If you made it this far, comment Mexico. Just confuse the hell out of everybody who pieced out early. Thank you so very much for watching. I already know this is going to be a very long video, and this is actually my second time filming this video. My husband recently got me a new computer. He got me a MacBook, and this was the first video that I filmed using my Mac and my external mic, but I messed up and I didn't know that my external mic was not recording sound, but instead the built-in mic on the computer was. We all know how janky those are. Not that I don't love my Mac, but the built-in mics in laptops are just not up to par. So this is my second time filming this video, and I actually feel a lot better about it the second time around. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. Like, subscribe, check out my merch store, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
There's my refreshments that I keep down next to me. And there's my old man that's hanging out with me. What are you doing? Oh, you're such an old guy. You're such an old guy. Ouch.